North Korean leader Kim Jong and Russian President Vladimir Putin have met for a rare summit on Wednesday. The two discussed military matters, the war in Ukraine and possible Russian help for North Korea's satellite program. As you can see in these visuals, their body language seemed extremely confident and affable, considering both the leaders were meeting in person after 4 years. The last time both of them met was in the year 2019. Putin showed Kim around Russia's most advanced space rocket launch site in Russia's Far East after Kim arrived by train from North Korea. Kim asked numerous detailed questions about rockets as Putin showed him around the Vostochny cosmodrome. When asked by Russian media if Russia would help Kim Jong-un build satellites, Putin said, and let me quote, "That's why we came here." Also, significantly, North Korea has fired ballistic missiles into the Korean peninsula while this meeting was on. It should be noted that Russia has joined China in opposing new sanctions on North Korea. The two countries are blocking a US-led push. They are publicly now splitting the UN Security Council for the first time since it started punishing Pyongyang from the year 2006. Asked about military cooperation, the Russian president also said that the country complied with international rules, but that were opportunities to explore. Now, does that mean that there will be an arms deal between Russia and North Korea? We still do not know. But the choice to meet at Vostochny Cosmodrome was notable. It is a symbol of Russia's ambitions as a space power. North Korea has twice failed to launch reconnaissance satellites in the past 4 months, making this meeting especially significant. Here's a report.
Together with Comrade Putin, we've just had an elaborate discussion about the military and political situation on the Korean Peninsula and in Europe, and have come to the conclusion that we need to further intensify strategic and tactical cooperation to ensure safety, guarantee a long-lasting peace both in the region and in the whole world. The Russian army and people will certainly win a great victory in the sacred struggle for the punishment of a great evil that claims hegemony and feeds an expansionist illusion. It will create an environment for peaceful development.
I'm very glad to see you and welcome you here in Russia, just as we had agreed at Vostochny Cosmodrome. We are very proud of how this industry develops here, and this is our new objective. I'm very grateful that you have paid special attention to our visit to Russia. We were able to see with our own eyes the present and the future of Russia as a space power. We are conducting our meeting in the heart of Russia's space power.
All right, so what does this entire visit mean as far as the geopolitical climate is concerned? Let's try and get in a sense of perspective. And for that, let me introduce my guest today. I'm joined in by Fred Ware, who's a senior journalist joining me live from Moscow. Many thanks to you, Fred, for joining in. Now, this meeting is over. And so the big question, what have North Korea and Russia gained from this much discussed meeting?
That's a very good question because you've heard all the rhetoric that was spread about, and it surely means that they've come to some agreements, but they haven't divulged many details about it. I think that what, in the short term, Russia will be getting is access to North Korea's military hardware and munition stockpiles, which will, it will add to Russia's, momentum on the battlefield in Ukraine. That is a very ammunition-hungry war, and the Russians, although they produce a lot of artillery and rocket munitions, they probably don't have enough. North Korea has lots, so I think that would be one of the things immediately that Russia will get. Another thing Russia probably wants is labor. Russia has ambitious plans to rebuild those territories it's occupied in Ukraine. They've already started rebuilding in Mariupol, the city they took about a year ago. So North Korea builds things really well. I was there once. I saw Pyongyang is a really well constructed city, and they have lots and lots of capable construction workers who go pretty cheaply on the market. So I think that Russia might have a need, certainly soon, for lots and lots of labor.
Fred, it's very interesting that you talk about how Russia is looking for ammunition stockpiles from North Korea, because that's also what was reported earlier. But having said that, we all know that North Korea has been sanctioned by the UNSC, and this will be in clear defiance of those UNSC sanctions, which, of course, as we all know, Russia is also a part of. Having said that, we are also aware of the fact that Putin has always, it's not the first time that Putin will be defying the sanctions, that is, if there is an arms deal between the two of them. But considering there has been no announcement, does that indicate that Russia is not too keen on making any formal announcements? And is there a probability of a backdoor deal?
I think there are probably many reasons why they're not going to divulge the details of any arms deals they've made. And it's also questionable how much it violates sanctions. I think the sanctions that Russia signed on to anyway, the UN Security Council measures, concern the nuclear weapons program of North Korea and its ballistic missile program. Putin made some statements, and of course they were a little bit vague, but he seemed to be saying very clearly that we will maintain the sanctions that we signed on to, but we'll find ways to work around them. And Russian analysts say that's probably for a lot of reasons, especially where the nuclear weapons program is concerned, not just out of concern for the United Nations sanctions and American feelings, but for Chinese feelings, that Russia will probably steer clear of assisting North Korea in that department. Ballistic missiles, I mean, the Cosmodrome meeting, the wide hints that Russia will help with satellite technology and such, all that is dual purpose stuff. And so Russia might end up helping North Korea with ballistic missiles.
You know, that's exactly what I was about to ask you, the significance of the Cosmodrome meeting, but you just mentioned it. So it clearly is a quid pro quo involved. But, you know, Beijing is watching this meeting very closely because China, along with Russia, has always pushed back against those sanctions on North Korea at the UNSC. How will Beijing be regarding this meet? Not to forget, some Western diplomats have said that this is North's way of poking China in the eye.
You know, it's hard to read that, but certainly Russia's has probably very, very carefully calculated the signals that it sends to Beijing, because it has a complicated and important relationship with China itself. So I'm sure that there is some level of agreement about Russia stepping in and developing its own relationship, which was, it had lapsed completely in the 1990s and was very slow to get off the ground. Any normalization or revival of Russian relations with Pyongyang were very slow, and they only really started going in 2019. And then the COVID crisis shut down North Korea. So they're coming back to a process they had earlier started, but it's got some new urgency attached to it. It's the war in Ukraine, and I think we will see developments in the near future